Man, I had to go outside and go for a walk before I did this video to cool off. And I'm still pissed off. I'm still pissed. This was straight up sabotage. Stephanie White, you are a bum. Aaliyah Boston, you are even more of a bum. You are a $6 million piece of garbage out there. Your ass can't make a layup. You refuse to pass the ball to Caitlin Clark. You stink. You stink. You've been intentionally not passing the ball to Caitlin Clark for the last 7-8 games. We've been watching and counting. I've been watching your ass not pass her the ball. You can't make a layup to save your life. You just as garbage at layups.
What happened in Dallas was more than just another frustrating loss for the Indiana Fever. The 91-85 defeat immediately raised questions about the team's offensive decisions, especially after Caitlin Clark struggled to find any rhythm, while Kelsey Mitchell became the clear focal point of the attack. Clark finished with 10 points and 9 assists, but the bigger story was how disconnected she appeared from the offense for long stretches. Instead of constantly putting the ball in her hands and using her playmaking to create opportunities, Indiana repeatedly leaned toward Mitchell, leaving Clark waiting for actions that rarely came. That decision became even more noticeable as the game went on, because every possession seemed to increase the frustration. Mitchell ultimately delivered a huge 37-point performance, so this wasn't about taking away from what she accomplished. The real question was whether Indiana found a winning formula or simply created another problem by allowing its offense to become so one-dimensional. And once Clark's body language started changing, the situation became impossible for fans to ignore. What looked like a bad offensive night was beginning to feel like something much bigger.
Kelsey Mitchell, and she played a hell of a game, but this thing was 100% about Kelsey Mitchell, and I think it had everything to do with them seeing Caitlin Clark climbing that MVP ladder, and they said, hell no, we are sabotaging this, and that is exactly what happened. The Indiana Fever lose to a team in the Dallas Wings that lost 8 out of their last 11 games. You could thank Stephanie White, who wanted to make it all about Kelsey Mitchell. Welcome to Keep the Vision. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, share the channel, hit the bell notification, hype the video. That'd be greatly appreciated, man. I am disgusted with the Indiana Fever. I am disgusted. Stephanie White, get your bum ass in
The problem became obvious almost from the opening minutes. Indiana repeatedly leaned on Kelsey Mitchell to create the offense, while Caitlin Clark struggled to find the freedom and rhythm that usually make her so dangerous. Clark still finished with 9 assists, showing she was actively trying to create for teammates, but her own scoring opportunities were limited. The more the Fever relied on one offensive option, the easier Dallas could anticipate what was coming. Mitchell deserves credit for taking advantage of her chances, but the bigger concern was the lack of balance. Indiana had multiple talented players, yet the offense often looked like it was waiting for one person to make something happen. And that imbalance would become even more noticeable as the game moved forward.
Your bum ass in the trash. You are a fucking bum of a coach. You are terrible. You are terrible. You mean to tell me the very first play of the game was ran for Kelsey Mitchell? Caitlin Clark threw her a bounce pass. Kelsey Mitchell went to turn the corner, got fouled, went to the free throw line. From that point on, every single play in the first half was for Kelsey Mitchell. Nobody else could establish a rhythm because you did nothing else for it.
Clark's body language became one of the biggest talking points of the night. As possessions continued without the familiar ball screens and actions designed to get her into space, she appeared to become increasingly passive. Instead of constantly searching for opportunities, she seemed to recognize that the offense was moving in another direction. That is especially important because Clark's biggest strength is her ability to control tempo, attack defenders, and turn one small opening into a scoring chance for someone else. When she is not involved, the entire Fever offense can lose its natural flow. Fans watching the game noticed that change almost immediately, and the frustration only grew with every possession.
Sophie Cunningham to get a shot from 3. You like by the time people got looks, they were in no rhythm. There was no rhythm by the time they actually got looks at the rim. Aaliyah Boston is trash. She does not set screens. You got people tackling Caitlin Clark. Aaliyah Boston, big, soft, sorry ass, don't do nothing. She's a big, soft, sorry piece of if you ask me out there. Aaliyah Boston is ass. $6 million of ass juice out there. She ain't did nothing. Got dominated by Jessica Shepard. Aaliyah Boston, get your sorry ass in the trash too. Go on. Get your sorry ass in the trash.
Aaliyah Boston also found herself under heavy criticism because Indiana needed far more production around the basket. Boston had opportunities to make an impact, but Dallas controlled the interior for long stretches, with Jessica Shepard creating major problems inside. Clark is at her best when she can use screens and interior movement to create open lanes, yet those actions never became a consistent part of Indiana's attack. When the Fever could not establish that inside presence, Dallas was able to put more pressure on the perimeter. Suddenly, Clark had fewer easy passing options. Mitchell had to take on even more responsibility, and Indiana's offense became increasingly difficult to predict and sustain.
Straight up bum. Stephanie White, you are the biggest piece of garbage, biggest piece of trash out there. Take a look at this. I'm glad. Look, Caitlin Clark is turning her back on Stephanie White. She's over it. Can we end this thing at the end of the season? Shout out to Kelsey. You played a good game. We're going to get into that. I want this thing broken up by the end of the season. You can't afford both. Pick one and let's move on. At this point, I'd rather y'all keep Kelsey, Stephanie, and AB together in Indiana, and let's let Caitlin go elsewhere. Can we go elsewhere, please? I just want to get the hell away from here. I want to get away from these weirdos. I want to get away from this sabotaging organization. I want to get away from everything. Take a look at this.
Then there was Kelsey Mitchell, who delivered an enormous individual performance despite the team's struggles. Mitchell finished with 37 points, shooting 9 of 18 from the field while converting all 15 of her free throws. Those numbers kept Indiana competitive and proved exactly why she remains such an important part of the Fever. But one huge scoring night cannot automatically fix a broken offensive rhythm. Sophie Cunningham struggled from 3, and other rotation players never had enough consistent involvement to build confidence. Instead of getting contributions from across the lineup, Indiana became increasingly dependent on Mitchell to rescue possessions. Her performance was impressive, but the fact that it still ended in a loss made the bigger problem impossible to overlook.
Look at her. Look at her. She don't want to hear it no more. Now look at Stephanie White when Caitlin Clark has the ball right here. She don't even want Caitlin to have the ball. She want Kelsey to have the ball. You see that reaction from the coach? You see that? They hate each other, and it's okay. I'll be glad when this thing is over. I will be glad when this thing is over. Get Caitlin Clark the hell away from this team. Get her the hell out of here, man. Caitlin Clark don't want nothing to do with Stephanie White, and Stephanie White don't want nothing to do with Caitlin Clark, which is fine. Can we stop this whole kumbaya thing, this fake thing? Stop standing up for Stephanie White.
Then came the moment that completely changed the conversation. During a tense exchange on the sideline, Clark appeared to turn away from Stephanie White instead of continuing the interaction. From the outside, nobody can know exactly what was said or what Clark was feeling, so claims that the two are in a personal feud remain speculation. But the visual was enough to get fans talking because it looked like a player who was visibly frustrated in the middle of a difficult night. Social media quickly began analyzing the clip from every angle. Suddenly, the focus was no longer just on the Dallas loss. People were asking whether the relationship between Clark and the coaching staff had reached a breaking point.
I had to go Kate for her at the podium. Y'all lost to a team that lost 8 out of their last 11 games. Caitlin Clark didn't play well. You shot 1 free throw. That shows me you had a lack of aggression. I felt like you checked out in the second quarter, to be honest. I watched you check out. They ran everything for Kelsey Mitchell. You came down the court. You wasn't even looking for no ball screens no more because you knew they wasn't coming. And you know once you pass the ball, you're never getting the ball back. You know that. If we all know it, you know it too. You know Aaliyah Boston don't give you the ball when you give it to her. You know when you go for the handoff with Aaliyah Boston, she's going to do this and then go the opposite way and give it to Kelsey. You know that.
Dallas, however, had no reason to care about Indiana's internal frustrations. The Wings played aggressively and punished the Fever whenever their defensive rotations broke down. Eriko Gunbowl scored 32 points, while Jessica Shepard added 26 points and 8 rebounds after making a major impact early. Despite entering the game on a difficult stretch, Dallas played with confidence and stayed composed when the pressure increased. Indiana, on the other hand, repeatedly looked like a team searching for its identity during the game itself. That difference in execution became crucial late, when every possession mattered and Dallas had already established control.
Every game has been that. This girl body just shut down the last game, just like it did in the playoffs last year. And she plays 35 minutes. But she played well with her opportunities. they made it her a focal point. They made it a point to get her established. They made it a point to get Kelsey a rhythm. And when she got that rhythm, she kept it going. They never made it a point to get anybody else a rhythm. Sophie Cunningham, 0 of 4 from 3. By the time Sophie Cunningham got to look at the rim, the game was almost over. She had no rhythm. No rhythm. Monique Billings sucks. The biggest crock of dog shit for $800,000. I don't know how she's getting 8. She sucks.
Now the pressure shifts toward Indiana's coaching staff and front office. If Caitlin Clark is supposed to be the foundation of the franchise, then the system has to consistently maximize her strengths while still allowing Mitchell and Boston to contribute. This does not mean every possession needs to run through Clark. It means the offense needs enough movement, screening, passing, and creativity to keep every major player involved. Online theories about deeper problems inside the Fever remain unverified, but the visible frustration has created a wave of discussion that the organization cannot simply ignore. One difficult game can happen to any team. The real concern is whether the same patterns continue appearing when the stakes get higher. That is what makes this loss potentially more important than the final score suggests. The 91-85 defeat exposed questions about offensive balance, player chemistry, coaching decisions, defensive execution, and the Fever's long-term direction. Mitchell showed she can carry a massive scoring load, while Clark still created 9 assists despite struggling to score efficiently. But Indiana cannot depend on individual brilliance every night. If the Fever want to build a serious contender around Clark, they need a system that creates rhythm instead of frustration and consistency instead of confusion. The Dallas game may eventually be remembered as nothing more than one bad night. But if these problems continue, it could become the game that forced Indiana to confront a much bigger question. What exactly does this franchise want its future to look like?